Hey guys, Fred Lonsdale here, and welcome to another one of my 2020 presidential prediction videos. Today, we are going to continue discussing swing states, but we are going to finish up with our last pure toss up swing state. And the last pure toss up swing state, as I'm sure you can guess by the title, is surprise, North Carolina. North Carolina is a very, very interesting state this year. This is the third, I guess, pure toss-up state I have. I had three of them: Arizona, Wisconsin, and now North Carolina. And out of the three of them, I think North Carolina is like the swingiest of the swing states. I think it could go either way. I could see Trump winning. I could see Biden winning. I really have no idea which way North Carolina is going to go. So it's anyone's game there. I think historically a Republican state, but Democrats have won there in the not so recent past as well, and have definitely made inroads since 2016. So I will get into North Carolina in a minute, but first and foremost, the format of the swing state pure toss-up swing state videos is a little bit different. I'm doing individual videos for each of the pure toss-up, too close to call swing states. This differs a little bit from the first set of videos I did. In those ones, I just sort of grouped swing states, like 5 swing states, either leaning for Trump or leaning towards Biden, and sort of went through and rattled them off and gave a little bit of information as to why they are leaning towards their particular candidates. In these pure toss-up, too close to call states, I think that they could go either way. So I did individual videos because, number one, there's only 3 of them, and 2, it allows me to go into a little bit more detail, about specific counties and specific areas that each candidate and campaign needs to focus on in order to carry the state. So I'm also using a sort of a new video software. I'm hoping it works. It might not. Fingers crossed. Hopefully my computer doesn't glitch out on me. And I'm hoping this whole thing works. So, North Carolina. To say that I think it's going to be super close this year is probably an understatement. I think this could go either way. North Carolina they not only have the presidential election on the docket, they also have a very important Senate race. They're also going to be running their gubernatorial race, or their race for governor. So, it's jam-packed in North Carolina this year. Obviously, the presidential is between Trump and Biden, but their Senate election is between incumbent Thom Tillis, the Republican, and the Democrat Cal Cunningham. And then on the gubernatorial side, Democrat and incumbent Roy Cooper is running for re-election. So, they've kind of got the trifecta of elections going this year, not to mention all the other sort of congressional races and races for, state attorney general, secretary of state, auditor, treasurer, all these statewide races. So jam-packed there. As I said, historically, and you kind of got to go back a while, historically, since the 1990s, North Carolina has been a pretty safely red state. Clinton never won there. George W. Bush carried North Carolina twice. So, it's pretty safe. I think H.W. Bush won North Carolina in 92. Bob Dole won in 96. George W. Bush won in 2000 and 2004, and then Democrats finally got a kind of a breakthrough in 2008, and Obama carried the state. Mitt Romney won it back for the Republicans in 2012, and Trump sort of narrowly carried North Carolina in 2016, but wasn't unexpected that he won there narrowly, but not unexpectedly. I think it definitely has the potential this year, but it really could go either way. The demographics, depending on what part of the state you're in, favor either candidate. It's a mix of urban areas, suburban areas, and rural areas. Is really like anyone's game. You have pockets that are deeply liberal. You have pockets that are deeply conservative. Pockets that, there's no real third party candidate. I think most people who vote are going to be voting for a presidential candidate. So it's a really difficult state to call. Arizona, I have it as a pure toss up, but I think that on paper it at least favors Donald Trump, and vice versa in Wisconsin. I have it as a pure toss up, but on paper it at least favors Joe Biden. I can't even say on paper that North Carolina favors one candidate or the other, because it's just, I guess historically Donald Trump, but North Carolina is a very different place, very different state than it was 20 years ago. So, Let's look at some of the areas that each candidate needs to perform well in, some of the specific counties they need to perform well in to carry the state. Okay. So, we're going to go over to 2016, and I think I'm going to start with Donald Trump because this is a little bit more cut and dry. The first county that Donald Trump really needs to important county for him is New Hanover County. This is it's a Republican leaning county. It contains the city of Wilmington, North Carolina. Greatest export is probably Michael Jordan. Mitt Romney won this county in 2012. Trump also won it in 2016. It's a Republican-leaning county for sure, and so this is a county that Trump needs to carry. It's got a solid amount of voters in there, over 100,000 votes to be had. I think that Trump should be able to get at least what he got in 2016 if him and his campaign are on their game. Now, look, New Hanover County, as I said, it contains the city of Wilmington. There's some suburbs in there. It's coastal. It's got some pretty, it's got potential to go, to flip over to Biden. You look at sort of how Romney did in 2012. Yes, Romney carried New Hanover County. He actually did better than Trump did. He got 51.7% of the vote. Trump got more votes in total, but because that's probably, voter turnout was actually higher in that county in 16 than it was in 12. So I think that Trump has, and I think it's going to be higher this time around as well. I think that the turnout is going to be better than it was in 2016. So I really do. If Trump can get to those Romney percentages, over 51.5, 52% of the total vote, and hold Biden to around 47%. That's a good amount of votes. I think that Trump should be trying to get over 52%, like 52.5, 53% of the total vote out of New Hanover County. But again, this is a leaning Republican district. It's not by any stretch of the imagination a safely red Republican county. I think if Trump can get over, if he can get up to 54% of the total vote, that's really good for him. That means that sort of your more affluent white voters in conservative leaning sort of counties of North Carolina are not jumping ship and are not abandoning him. They might do that nationally, but those famed sort of country club Republicans that helped elect Bush twice, that means that Trump is holding on to them. If he can get sort of to those Romney margins, it would be a good sign for his campaign, I think. If Biden looks like he's going to flip this county, or even if Trump is leading, but under that 50% threshold, like Trump's at 49.5%, Biden's at 48, and you have people who are kicking their votes to third party candidates. Well, then that's kind of got to be a win for Biden as well. Like taking a Trump winning by plurality, not majority, in a place like New Hanover County, that definitely means that those country club Republicans are not turning out for Trump, and that they're either voting for third party candidates or just not voting for a presidential candidate at all. And then the best case scenario for Biden and worst case for Trump would be if Biden flips that county, because I've said it before and I'll say it again, in a pure toss-up state like North Carolina, you got to win the lean counties. I don't see a scenario in which Trump wins North Carolina and Biden wins Trump wins North Carolina but loses New Hanover County. There's not that many scenarios in which that happens, especially when you're looking at margins that could be even closer than 2016. That's not, Trump didn't actually win the state by a majority. He won by a plurality. I don't know if he can afford to do that again. He has to expand his electorate. Yes, not having Gary Johnson in the race is going to be a major boost for him. Theoretically, if Johnson wasn't in the race, you could probably expect Trump to have won a slight majority in North Carolina. I think he's definitely going to need to win a majority this time around, and I don't see him winning a majority if he does not, win a majority in somewhere like Hanover County, New Hanover County. It's a Republican leaning county. You gotta win your lean counties by a majority, and the healthier the better. So I think the target for Trump needs to be 52%, vote share out of New Hanover County. If he can get over that, that's even better for him. Another county that that's vital for Trump, Robeson County. Robeson County is a county that voted for Obama twice and then went to Trump. It is a fairly rural, fairly impoverished county with a high percentage of minorities. A huge Native American population and a huge African American population. As I said, fairly impoverished, fairly rural. There are some urban areas. A lot of manufacturing was sort of prevalent in this county, and Obama sort of won in 2008 and 2012. Number one, sort of by appealing to those identity politics, but also with sort of his economic populism, whether or not that was, you know, was actually put into practice during his presidency is a matter of debate. But at least when he campaigned, he did so on a message of economic, some economic populism compared to Mitt Romney, obviously. And Trump kind of did the same thing in 2016. He promised a lot of people, a lot of jobs, manufacturing jobs, tapped into a lot of resentment, sort of economic frustration in that area with that manufacturing jobs had sort of vanished. Like I said, and he was able to win a county that has large portions of, or large percentages of the population who might not necessarily be in that sort of white working class, non-college educated Trump coalition, but nonetheless are come from impoverished backgrounds, working class backgrounds, not a lot of college, a lot of high school education there. The only difference being is that a large percentage of that population is not white. We will see how Trump's brand of politics, we'll see if that has any sort of consequences. Yes, I would assume that the voters in Robeson County probably prefer Trump on economic issues when it comes to his economics, but probably Biden for everything else. Probably Biden on more like social issues. So we will see what do they trust Trump to bring back an economy that has been decimated by coronavirus? Do they give him a pass on the economic downturn that has basically happened over the past sort of 9 months, 9 months to a year? Or do they say, well, you're handling a coronavirus coupled with the fact that you are, your social policies do not align with ours whatsoever. Is that a referendum on him? We will see. Robeson County, in my opinion, is more vital to Trump than it is to Biden. If Trump loses Robeson County, that means that the Trump coalition is in serious trouble. That means that his economic populism message is not playing out how it did in 2016. It means that people in impoverished working class counties are saying, what you were saying in 2016 is all bullshit. Like, you don't, like you're talking bullshit because you had 4 years and you didn't do anything. Not only that, but now we're stuck with coronavirus and, your crappy social policies. So it'll be very interesting to see Robeson County. Can Trump maintain this sort of coalition that he's built around sort of this populist anger at the economic direction of this country? Or do voters say, basically, you took us for a ride in 2016. It was all smoke and mirrors. You didn't bring back manufacturing jobs. Your economy only worked for the richest 1%, and now even that's in the toilet because of coronavirus. So it'll be very interesting in Robeson County. Trump needs Robeson County more than Biden does, in my opinion. Biden can make up numbers elsewhere. I don't, if Robson County goes to Biden, that's probably not a great indicator of what Richmond County is going to do. And then, somewhere like, if Robson County goes Biden, then Bladen County is in play as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see, how sort of the knock-on effects, if Trump is underperforming in Robson County, the knock-on effects for counties that are kind of out here on the periphery. And even, Biden is up big in Robson County, then as I said, yeah, Richmond County's in play. Bladen County's in play, but also probably like somewhere like Sampson County as well. Maybe not as close, but if Biden can sort of chip into Trump's numbers coming out of there, then that'd be favorable to the Biden campaign. Speaking of Biden, going on to him, Biden's big counties, for him, it's really gonna be the population centers. Really, you gotta look over at start off with Mecklenburg County. Mecklenburg County has quickly become ever since like the 1990s. It has become a Democratic stronghold. Since the 90s, early 2000s, it's become a Democratic stronghold. Hillary Clinton won in Mecklenburg County. She won voters at like a 2-to-1 clip. Biden needs to like run up the score in Mecklenburg County. This is vital for Biden. This is one of the counties that he needs to really, really, really run the score up there, and really sort of try and outperform Clinton's turnout numbers. There's, as you can see on the map, and even going back to 2012, there's not a whole lot of blue in North Carolina. The Democratic, Biden's he's gonna lose more counties than he wins. The key to winning North Carolina for the Democrats is turning out voters in your stronghold, and the Democratic strongholds of North Carolina happen to be the two most it happens to be the population centers. So you gotta turn out voters in, and so the two largest counties in North Carolina are Mecklenburg and Wake County. They kind of go back and forth for which one is bigger, but Mecklenburg County is home to Charlotte and the suburbs of Charlotte. If Biden can run up the score there, that is going to be, that's going to be favorable. If Biden can get up to the high 60s, even low 70s in terms of percentages, then that is a great sign. That means that basically means that the suburban voters have completely abandoned Trump, and that there is like in your sort of obviously the cities are going to go for Biden, but even like in the sort of the close suburbs, that means that they've completely abandoned Trump, and North Carolina is at that point is probably the least of his worries. So Biden needs to run up the score in Mecklenburg County. Another place he needs to run up the score, Wake County. Oh, going back to Mecklenburg County, if Biden is running up the score, then it'll be interesting to see what's happening in Union County, what's happening in Cabarrus County. Obviously, I think Trump will carry these two counties, maybe even Gaston County. Would be worth looking at. I think that Trump is going to win these counties pretty easily, but there are people who were living in Charlotte who have moved out into these counties, especially Union County, over the past 4 or 5 years. So it'll be interesting to see if Biden is getting favorable returns, which I think he will from Mecklenburg County, it'll be interesting to see if that has any knock-on effects in some of the counties that are a little farther out. Similarly, another important county for Biden is Wake County. This is home to Raleigh and the Raleigh metropolitan area, suburbs there. The area around Raleigh is sort of the Durham's up here. Durham's safely Democrat. There's some, these are, the area around Raleigh is a little bit more favorable to Democrats. Like Mecklenburg County is just kind of, it feels like a blue dot in a sea of red. Wake County is a little bit more favorable. Like I said, Mecklenburg County and Wake County go back and forth, which one's bigger. But as you can see here in 2016, Wake County had 202 precincts, so there's a lot of votes to be had in there. A lot of votes. And this is another place where I think Biden can and has to run up the score. I think that Biden certainly needs to get over the 60% threshold. 57.4% is not going to cut it, and you can ask Hillary Clinton all about that. Obama in 2016, you can see that how he got over, obviously Clinton improved on Obama numbers a little bit from 2012 to 2016. I think Biden can continue that trend. And also in Wake County, Clinton improved a little bit on Obama numbers as well. I think that Biden can continue that trend. It seems as though the county is becoming more blue because the suburbs are becoming more blue. I think that Biden can and should be aiming to get at least 60% of the total vote out of Wake County. That would put him in a pretty good position. I think he can get more, and I think he should be shooting for more. I think that if Biden can get up to 64, 65% of the total vote out of Wake County, that would put him in position to be carrying the state. And I think that's a fair that'd be a fair goal for Biden. I think there are still Republicans there. Wake County, much like Mecklenburg County, has only really been safely Democrat since 2004. So I think that 64, 65% might be a little bit audacious of a goal, but I certainly think his base Biden's base level needs to be like 60% of the total vote. I think he needs to shoot for like 61, 62 to feel good about his chances of carrying North Carolina. If Trump is holding Biden under 60%, then Biden's going to need to win places like Robeson County. He might need to flip a place like New Hanover County. He's going to need to run it back on some counties that went from Obama to Clinton. But if he can get the margins that he needs in these more populous counties, that gives him some breathing room and some margin for error. The last county that I have that Biden needs to watch out for is Martin County. It's a small county. It's not a big place. It's very rural, and it's in what is referred to as the Black Belt of North Carolina. It kind of stretches down through here, up through here, all these counties. It's predominantly rural, predominantly Democrat, and predominantly African American, as to why it is called the Black Belt. So, even with the great sort of, African Americans moving out of the area, in the early 1900s, this area of North Carolina still is still predominantly African American, predominantly rural, and predominantly Democrat. But you can see some of these counties that Trump was able to flip. Granville County, Franklin County went Romney in 12. Nash County and Martin County all flipped from Obama to Trump. You can see Martin County, Trump won Martin County by less than 51 votes. He won by 51 votes. That's how much he won by. He won the county by 51 votes. Again, it's not a huge county. It's a very rural county, but this is a county that the Biden needs to flip back to the Democratic column. Trump's margin there was 51 votes. You got to be able to make that up in a historically Democratic county in order to have a chance. If he's up in a place like Martin County, that means that he is in a good position to basically flip back a larger county like Nash County. And he's in a good position to flip back a larger county like Granville County. And he's in a good position to do some damage to a county like Franklin County that voted Romney, voted Trump, but was still fairly close. You look at Franklin County in 2012, and it's pretty close, 47.5% to like 51.5%. Obviously, Trump opened up a much larger lead there in 2016, but I think, but he also, he also was able to flip some of these other counties, including Martin County. So to me, for this like sort of black belt area, if you will, Martin County is a bit of a bellwether. Biden needs to win in these spots. It's not going to be enough to perform well. He really needs to flip them back to the Democratic column in order to sort of maybe offset losses in more sort of Republican strongholds. Okay, there are and he needs to factor in the fact that these are kind of like low hanging fruit areas. They're not, like I said, they're historically Democratic. So you got to, you have to be able to flip those before you can start thinking about, flipping a place like New Hanover County that is historically Republican, or somewhere like Hyde County that is historically Republican, but, may be in play this year. So, yeah, that's kind of what each candidate needs to do. There are some other counties that could be in play, but really for Trump, it's going to be, Republican leaning counties like New Hanover, and then counties that he was able to flip in like Robson County in 2016, just to sort of, make sure he's maintaining that Trump base and even possibly expanding it if he can. And then for Biden, it's all about winning the population centers, sort of Mecklenburg County, Wake County. You could put Cumberland County in there and Guilford County as well. And then also flipping back some of these Obama to Trump counties in favorable parts of the state. Okay, that's how each candidate is going to carry North Carolina. It's going to be incredibly interesting to watch this state. I think the presidential is going to have a crazy effect on the Senate race in this state, probably more so than any other state. I could see some split ticketing in other races. I could see where something like ranked choice voting might come into play in a state like in the main Senate race. I could see some split ticketing voting in a place like Arizona, Montana, places like that. I can see where you have some endangered Republicans. You have some endangered Republicans, like Colorado, Cory Gardner. North Carolina, I think that this one is, whichever candidate wins the state, I think is also their candidate is gonna win the Senate seat. The gubernatorial race, I think that one is more like that one's more susceptible to split ticket voting. But I think that the presidential, whoever is in the wins the presidential their gubernatorial candidate is going to be in a lot better position to carry North Carolina. So this is going to be a very, very interesting state. If it looks like this, on election night, then I would say it probably favors Trump. But if it looks more like this, well, then I gotta say it's probably going to favor Biden, because he's probably going to be able to put up better margins than Obama even was in the population centers. I think those population centers have gone more blue than they were even 8 years ago. So very interesting to watch. A lot of factors at play in North Carolina. I think for my money, this is going to be the swingiest of the swing states. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Hopefully, maybe before Election Day, I will do a who I think is going to win, accompanied by my 270 to win map or something like that. But we'll see what I have time for over the weekend. So thank you again for watching. Please like the videos. Again, my name is Fred Lonsdale, and I really appreciate the watches, the likes, and the support. Thanks so much. Remember to vote. Bye-bye.